Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video, and this is another baseball reaction, and the video we're doing today is the Game 7 walk-off finish in 2001 World Series needs a deep rewind, Yankees versus the Diamondbacks, sorry. And quickly, I just wanted to say thank you for all the support from my update video. I was not expecting so many kind messages from everyone. I just sort of made the video to try and update you. I didn't realise the sort of reaction it would get, and I genuinely I'm blown away by it, but I really just want to thank you for everything you've said in the comments, through DMs, in the Discord, etc. It's incredible what you said and how much happy you've made me feel just from that video, man. It's mental to me. So many people care, I guess you could say, actually care, and it's just, yeah, it's crazy. I can't compute it in my head why, but it means the world, man. So I just thank you all for that. It's incredible, man. But yeah, let's get into this and see, because it's been a few. I feel like this has been because obviously I've not really posted much in the last few weeks, but I feel like it's been quite a long time since I've done an SB Nation baseball video. Maybe I'm wrong. I may have done one quite recently, but from my memory, I've not done one in the longest amount of time. And I enjoy these deep rewind sort of videos. I find them very interesting, how they're edited, etc. How it goes into detail for the weirdest things that you wouldn't expect. He'll sort of connect a certain story to another thing, and it's just what the hell. But it's really, I find it quite intriguing how he does it, really. They, because obviously it's more than one person. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's see what this video's got for us, because if it's anything like the past rewind videos, I'm gonna enjoy it for sure.
2001. Game 7 of the World Series between the Yankees and Diamondbacks is tied with one out,
biggest game,
bases loaded, and Arizona's Luis Gonzalez at bat in the bottom of the ninth. You might know what's about to happen, but you can't really appreciate it without knowing what just happened, what happened before that, and what this moment means to everyone involved. To really feel the weight of what comes next, we need to rewind.
Come on. Come on.
We are looking right now at the latest in the calendar a World Series game has ever been played. Baseball being played in November is one tiny residual ripple effect of the September 11th attacks less than 2 months ago. This World Series is the first major sporting championship since 9/11. Beyond the delay,
that must have been the emotions around that. Then must have been crazy. Oh, that's wild! I completely forgot about obviously the 9/11 attacks. God, that's gonna make this story completely unique to other things, right, that I've seen in the past.
It's been interesting to see how business resumes while acknowledging a tragedy of that scale, especially with the New York team involved. The Yankees hosted games 3, 4, and 5 of this series. An occasion opened by President Bush throwing out a ceremonial first pitch. New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is in the stadium tonight, getting a lot of screen time. And the fingerprints of corporate America's response to tragedy are all over tonight's broadcast. The Emmys, which were delayed once by 9/11, then again by the declaration of war in Afghanistan, are taking place simultaneously with this game, which means we've gotten updates throughout. Also delayed was the premiere of this brand new show about a counter-terror agent, which will finally happen a couple days from now. Who knows how long that'll last. For the most part, the presentation of this game is business as usual, just with more nationalism and a bit more wind chill here in Phoenix because it's November. Insofar as sports matter in the real world, it would be special for New York to win big in the wake of tragedy. But viewed purely through baseball history, especially recent baseball history, the Yankees taking Game 7 to win this World Series wouldn't be...
I've just realised it's the New York Yankees as well. Oh, this makes this even crazier. One thing I'm interested about, because obviously he's emphasising a lot about how this game, baseball, it never usually reaches until November. How long was the pause, I guess you could say, from sport after this awful tragedy happened, after 9/11 happened? How long was the break from baseball? Was sport paused for 2 weeks, a month? I'm guessing there was a sort of time just paused for a bit, whilst they were grieving, or whilst they were trying to sort of pay their respects, I guess, for the tragedy. But yeah, because obviously if the season was delayed, that makes sense as to why it finished later than usual in November, right?
Anything out of the ordinary, especially compared to their opponent. If the Yankees push this to extra innings and get the W, it'll be their 4th straight World Series victory.
Wow.
Their dynasty dates back to the 1998 season.
Wow.
The Diamondbacks' whole franchise dates back to the 1998 season, when they and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays were added to the MLB via expansion. This is the quickest an expansion team has ever made a World Series.
That's crazy.
So winning would be incredible, doubly so when you look at all pro sports in this state. Arizona now has franchises in every major professional sport, but no rings. The Phoenix Suns have made it to the finals a couple times, but ran into the Celtics dynasty of the 70s and the Bulls dynasty of the 90s. Their new WNBA counterpart, the Mercury, have hit a similar wall. Since moving to the area, the NHL's Coyotes and NFL's Cardinals haven't won anything important. To find a pro champion around here, you'll need to visit the Arena Football League, where the Arizona Rattlers have collected a couple trophies. So will the D-backs get this done and make Arizona pro sports history?
City, right?
Or will they go the way of those old Suns teams and become a footnote in the story of a legendary dynasty? It's funny because New York's been mowing down World Series opponents for as long as the Diamondbacks have existed, but this series hasn't been like that at all. In fact, despite the 3-3 tie, it's been lopsided in the other direction. Arizona dominated their 3 home games before today. Superstar pitchers Curt Schilling and Randy Johnson held New York's batters completely in check in games 1 and 2. And Johnson got back on the mound for game 6, while his offense did most of the work dismantling the Yankees 15-2. That tied the series.
Jeez.
Because New York did win games 3, 4, and 5 in the Bronx, they just didn't win any of them convincingly. The stats in this series aren't close, especially after that joke of a game 6, but only the final scores count, so...
That's crazy. That's the incredible thing about sports, man. Like obviously it's free, like the tie's 3-3, but like when Arizona won their games, I'm guessing it was an absolute landslide. But when New York, like he said, it was a very like tight sort of affair. But that just goes to show, man. Like, I find that really, really interesting. But I really like that, man. Like, some people may not like that because obviously you see that and you're like, but like looking at the runs, it shouldn't be a contest. But I think it's pretty cool, man. I do like this sort of side of how it works with like playoffs, etc.
3-3 it is.
That's
3
crazy.
Easy wins for Arizona, 3 nail biters for New York.
That is crazy, man.
The way New York earned those 3 narrow victories echoed in some decisions made tonight. Go back to the top of this inning and look who's on the mound. That's not a regular reliever. That's Randy Johnson, the Game 6 starter. Here's why. Because Arizona's starting pitchers have been masterful in this series, the Yankees have done a disproportionate amount of their scoring in the latter innings against relief. Specifically, it's been Diamondback closer Byung-Hyun Kim blowing saves. Okay. Arizona held a lead entering the bottom of the 9th of Game 4, but Kim gave up a game-tying homer to Tino Martinez, then a walk-off to Derek Jeter just after the crack of midnight on November 1st. 24 hours later, Kim again found himself trying to protect a 2-run lead in the bottom of the 9th and failed to do so, surrendering a game-tying Scott Brosius homer in a Game 5 the Yankees would eventually win on a walk-off hit by rookie Alfonso Soriano. Fast forward to tonight. The 34-year-old Schilling started this game for Arizona, and he was typically excellent, just humiliating Yankee hitters with his fastball.
We have seen some horrible Yankee swings against the pitching of Curt Schilling.
Schilling's first real hiccup came in the 7th inning when he got into a bit of a jam and gave up an RBI single to Tino Martinez. Schilling got out of that inning with just the 1 run surrendered, but since he was set to lead off batting the next frame and sucks at that, the announcers assumed Arizona manager Bob Brenly would seize the opportunity to sub in a pinch hitter, then replace Schilling on the mound the next inning.
So clearly, Bob Brenly will be pinch hitting for Schilling.
He didn't.
Wow.
The first-year manager let Schilling go up there and strike out so he could keep him pitching in the 8th. And
So
Schilling made that decision look bad, as the rookie Soriano golfed one over the wall for his second huge hit of the series. At that moment, Brenly faced another decision. After bringing in Miguel Batista to get the next out, he had to pick a pitcher to close out a game the D-backs were already losing. He narrowed it to 2 men. Kim, the regular closer, who issued 2 disastrous blow saves in New York.
I'm hoping for his sake, because obviously I don't actually know the turnout, how this ended, so that's something good for me, like for the video. Like, I don't actually know how it's going to end. I hope for his sake he can pull it back, man. Oh, but then I'm saying that if that happens, then obviously that means Arizona would win, and I don't know who I'd want to win, because to see like if the Yankees like won 4 in a row, and obviously with the events that happened 2 months after the 9/11 attacks, that could be some insane story, man. And obviously you guys will know this, but for me, I'm now learning what's going to happen.
Or the wild card,
And who's going to
Johnson,
win?
a starter with minimal relief experience and who threw over 100 pitches just one night ago.
Oh my God.
Brenly chose Johnson, the unusual and exhausted arm over the usual but unlucky arm. Johnson got out of the 8th and through the 9th with ease. Which is why the Yankees are still sitting on just the 2 runs. A tough decision paid off. Yankee manager Joe Torre is in the opposite boat at this moment. He made an easy, obvious decision, and it's not going the way anyone expected. While Arizona's top starters have owned this World Series, the Yankees have made it competitive not just with clutch hits, but with clutch pitching, mostly thanks to their closer, Mariano Rivera. Rivera is a 4-time All-Star. He was World Series MVP in '99. Even in a relatively down year, he led the majors in saves this season. He has the best postseason ERA of all time, 23 straight playoff saves and 0 career playoff losses. Here in the World Series, he's stayed great, with crucial scoreless
Clutch
outings
up, yeah.
in each of the 3 Yankee wins. Tonight, another All-Star, 39-year-old Roger Clemens, started for the Yankees. Clemens was iffy coming into this game because of a sore hamstring, but he pitched brilliantly. Strikeout after strikeout after strikeout. Clemens only gave up 1 run, and it was because of another interesting decision by Bob Brenly.
Okay.
Danny Batista came up to face Clemens in the bottom of the 6th with Steve Finley on first and the game still scoreless. The Yankees assumed Batista would sacrifice bunt in order to advance Finley to second and set up an RBI for someone else, so Clemens threw Batista a high fastball. But Batista had been hot all series,
Okay,
so
he's gonna-
Brenly
he's
told him
gonna
to
get a
take
home run,
one
isn't he?
swing at it before defaulting to the bunt.
I'll put bunt on, and then I'll change my mind. I'm going to give him 1 whack at it right here.
In came the high fastball, crack went the bat, and the Diamondbacks had their first run of the evening.
Oh, look at that.
Clemens stayed on the mound for a bit after that
Wasn't a home
miscue,
run, but
but
still,
once he
that's
gave
sick.
up another hit in the 7th, it was time for Torre to pull the plug on his sore old starter. He let Mike Stanton finish the inning, then made his extremely easy decision to open the 8th. The Yankees needed 6 more outs. Mariano Rivera, perhaps the clutchest postseason pitcher ever, was the man for the job. And sure enough, Rivera hurled 3 strikeouts to get out of the 8th. All Mariano needed to do to win the Yankees a historic 4th straight World Series was the same thing he'd done hundreds of times
Oh,
before.
man.
Pitch 1 clean inning. Clearly, that didn't happen. The game is tied and the bases are loaded. Rivera's got himself in a bad spot. What happened? Well, Mark Grace singled.
Into center field, a good start for Arizona. Grace with his 3rd hit.
Rivera fielded a bunt, but he and a slightly injured Derek Jeter couldn't make the play at second.
Oh.
DeLucci will stay, and it's 2 on with nobody out.
Again a bunt, this time right to third base where Scott Brocious made the out and might have been able to turn 2 if he threw to first, but he didn't. Then Tony Womack, of all people, doubled in the game-tying run.
Tony Womack delivers, it's 2-2.
And Rivera hit Craig Counsell in the knuckle to load the bases.
Oh,
And
no.
here we are. Bases loaded, 1 out, game tied 2-2. Not great. So how's Rivera gonna get out of this? Remarkably, he's done it before, recently, and in a similar scenario. In the top of the 11th of Game 5, Rivera had the bases loaded with 1 out and the game tied 2-2. Joe Torre, his manager, had the option to pull his infielders in hopes of turning any ground ball into an easy out at home plate. Instead, Torre played aggressive. He kept the infield back, hoping to snag anything hit further or potentially come up with a double play. As it happened, that alignment put Soriano, the second baseman, in the perfect spot to make an incredible catch on a Reggie Sanders line
That was
drive.
a naughty catch, by the way.
Rivera induced a grounder for the final out, and New York went on to win. This
Okay, so he's
is-
done this. He's done this before, so he's good in this situation, right? But I guess this is a much higher pressure situation because of the circumstances of it being the 8th inning, and it's the 7th or game 7, should I say? So I mean, under this kind of pressure, I feel like everything just goes out the window. Like, I mean, not everything, but the majority of like your skill goes out the window. Like, unless you've got the composure it's just like all gone, man. Because like under certain scenarios, you're gonna like be so nervous, man.
Is an identical scenario, except for the crucial distinction that it's not the top of an inning in Game 5 where a run wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world.
Yeah.
This is the bottom of the 9th of Game 7. A
Oh,
run
right, sorry,
would be
right.
the end of the world series. Torre has been managing for decades. He's seen moments like this before, and he's not going to roll the dice a second time. He's got his infielders in, ready to pounce on anything short and make the play at home plate in hopes of keeping the game tied.
I tell you what, this has taught me a lot more about the actual tactics of baseball as well, like the positioning, etc. Like I didn't really realize like the importance of that, but seeing this video has actually like shown me a lot from that sort of side of the sport. And that's not even what this video is about, but I've just found out, and I feel like that's pretty like now that I've seen it, it makes a lot of sense.
The ball's hit over the head of an infielder, well, that'll be it. Speaking of hitting the ball, let's talk about the man tasked with doing that,
come on.
Luis Gonzalez. Gonzalez started his career as a promising youngster for the Astros, but by his late 20s, hadn't improved much as he bounced from team to team. Before the '99 season, the Tigers traded him to the Diamondbacks for Kareem Garcia. Since then, he's blossomed into a star, and 2001 has been his best season by far. Gonzalez had a record-setting April, started his second All-Star game in July, and won the Home Run Derby as well. He crushed 57 homers on the season, a career high by a long shot,
57,
and something that might make him NL MVP and the big national baseball story, if not for that guy.
Number 73.
Of course it's him.
Tonight, Gonzalez hasn't had it. He's hitless and has struck out twice, including once the prior inning against Rivera. But this right here is his opportunity. This could be Gonzalez's moment to end the game on a walk-off and instantly become a World Series hero. It's a moment delayed by unthinkable tragedy and surrounded by our confused response to it. If this moment goes well for Gonzalez, it could make Arizona one of the fastest-built professional champions ever in a state that's never really had one.
It'd be
It could
huge for the
reward
state.
the exceptional performance of one of the greatest pitching tandems ever and validate their rookie manager in his game of chess against a veteran. If this doesn't work out, it'll be because one of the clutchest pitchers ever overcame immense pressure yet again, and it'll give this Yankee dynasty their 4th straight championship, as narrowly as they've ever done it.
Who do I want to win? Who do I want to win? And I made the mistake. I said City at the start of the video. I meant State. I don't know how I said City. Who do I want to win? Arizona or New York? The Yankees, sorry, or Diamondbacks. I'll just say Yankees or the Diamondbacks. I would probably say I want the Yankees to win this purely based on the fact that like the event happened in New York, and this would just be a perfect sort of story to sort of like, I don't know how to sort of put it, like this kind of situation, if they did win this, would have probably changed the city, not changed, but like made the city a lot more positive for a certain amount of time after the such negative things that had happened. But let's see what happens, man. I'm very, very excited to see who's going to win this.
Welcome to a moment in history.
Floater, center field. The Diamondbacks.
Oh, okay, they won it then.
Champions.
And that was so quickly as well.
Thank you very much for watching Rewinder. Please keep recommending episode topics for
This
us,
is a sick
and
video,
please
man.
keep liking and subscribing.
I
And
want to see that again now.
welcome to a moment in history.
Floater, center field.
Man,
Diamondbacks.
the positioning of the players, isn't it? So that was an insane one though, man.
Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed that though, because I like the fact that the Yankees are were the prestigious team with all the history and like all like the sort of like they have all the trophies basically, and that obviously the Diamondbacks, they were just the new team on the block, I guess you could say. They didn't have any sort of like history in a sense compared to the Yankees, but they made it to the World Series, like the finals, as quickly, like I think it said quicker than anyone else has made it, which is pretty insane when you think of it. Because like when teams are newly created, you don't expect them to be making the finals in like whatever sport they're in within like 2 to 3 years, right? Which is absolutely mind blowing. But the fact they won it, I mean, it goes to show. Like, I mean, I guess they must have had a really good organisation behind them and people sort of supporting the team behind them. But yo, this is a really interesting video, man. I really like this. And for the the state of Arizona. That must have been huge as well. Since then, has like the state of Arizona had success in other sports? Like, obviously leading from this, because obviously this was the first time they'd won like a big championship in that state. Has it changed since? Like, have they started like blossoming in other sports, etc.? But yo, this is a really cool video, man. As I say, the deep rewind ones are always interesting for me. People forget Young Kim pitched like an ace for 2 innings before surrendering the homer. Dude, he's got pretty unlucky. Yeah, I felt bad for him in this, man. He didn't seem to have the best of times, but yo, that's just how sport is, man. Like, at the top level, the best players are gonna have the ups and downs. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more things like this, like more rewind reactions, suggest what you want to see. Or if you want to see more individual player reactions from baseball, like I saw a Derek Jeter suggestion, in my Discord, and that intrigued me, man. Like, the thought of doing that, I feel like that could be quite interesting. But whatever you want, just let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to do them in future. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Until next time, like, subscribe, peace.